What's up, friends? Welcome to Rogers Jr. Reviews. So today, we're going to be reviewing a movie that came out recently and I've been meaning to check out. It's a new Pokemon movie called Mewtwo Strikes Back. Okay, so this movie, it's a 1 hour 38 animated film from Kunihiko Yuyama. And wow, it is quite a film, let me tell you. So if you're a fan of Pokemon, you're going to love it. If you don't know what Pokemon is, or you haven't watched the originals, I would skip this movie. And I'll explain why, but it is such a great throwback and such a great reflection into the Pokemon universe and like the Pokemon, movies I used to watch growing up, the Pokemon shows with Ash and the classic characters. But if you don't know what Pokemon are, or you've never been interested in the franchise, a lot of the jokes, a lot of the inside stuff are just going to fly right over your head. And so, in the end, it's most likely going to end up being a pretty garbo experience. Unless you're a Pokemon fan, which I am. Because if you're a Pokemon fan, this movie is so lit. Let me tell you, it's so lit. And here's why. Ready? First of all, I can't get over it. I can't get over the animation in this movie. It's so good. Like I've watched animes before, and their animations are always OP, right? But that's because, it's anime. Anime is amazing. I watched a lot of American cartoons, like Trolls or even Scooby-Doo and stuff like that, and they have that 2D animation down, but the 3D, when it comes to 3D animation, it's never really like 100%. One of the only studios, I guess Disney does it pretty well, but the best animation studio so far, personally, I believe, is Pixar. Animation studio in America, not anime. I'm talking about American animation studios, because they get the details of the characters down and they get everything look nice. And holy, this Pokemon movie is very similar. I'm talking about, you could see the hair strands on these characters. The clothes they wear look like clothes. It's weird. It's like they look like cloth material instead of like animation. The Pokemon look, instead of like plastic renderings of Pokemon, they look like kind of like Pokemon. They still have like a glossy plasticky feel or vibe, as expected from animation in general, but I'm surprised at how good the animation is. And also the moves, the battles, the action altogether, everything looks so good, altogether. And it's because I think, one, the animation studio kicked out of the park, but also I think they took the story from the original Pokemon Mewtwo movie. If you watch that, they stayed true to the vibe of the original Pokemon movies and Pokemon shows, which I think benefited greatly for me when watching it. And I'll continue to explain, but essentially in this movie, there's a bunch of scientists who create a machine that can clone Pokemon, and they create Mewtwo from the genetic material of Mew. We all know you're not supposed to play around with clones and stuff like that, but these guys do it anyway. And Mewtwo comes out, and he is sentient. He's self-aware, and he's like, what is my purpose? What am I doing? Who am I? And he takes over his creators and everybody. And basically he's essentially like the most powerful Pokemon at this time period. And so he takes over, and the movie is about Ash and the gang having to go up against Mewtwo, right? And learning the value of Pokemon, about life, about everything. And this movie is full of lessons that I'll mention later on too. But first of all, Ash is back with Pikachu and everybody, and they really captured the essence of the originals. We even have Brock back, right? And he's just like he used to be. He's got that tinge of perv. He's still funny. You could tell he's caring about everybody. You got Misty back with Togepi, and she's the exact same as she's always been. And then obviously we got Ash and Pikachu, and their relationship is so strong in this movie. You can tell that Pikachu really cares about Ash, and vice versa. They're both really fantastic characters. And altogether, everything's well done. The one caveat about this movie is, if you're a Pokemon fan, I still recommend checking it out. However, if it irks you when characters in animations open their mouths to speak, but then the words that come out don't look like they're coming from the mouth. And so what I mean by that is, like, they'll open their mouth to speak, but then instead of moving their mouth when we're in like when words. Okay, so if I say the word apple, right? You see how my mouth moves like apple. Well, in the Pokemon movie, it's like they'll open their mouth and then the word apple will come out. Like apple, but they won't move their mouth like they're saying apple. It'll just be they're opening the mouth and the character's saying apple, which you might think is like, oh, whatever, it's not that big a deal. It gets a little bit distracting, especially early in the film when you're getting used to it. But later in the film, it's fine. It doesn't detract too much. But if it is something that irks you or has irked you in the past, so if you watched an animated film where characters' voices don't really match up with the actions or like the mouth movements and stuff, then this movie will irk you because of that. There's so much of that. Again, if you're a fan of the Pokemon movies or Pokemon in general, and you want to see these Pokemon duel it out, it's totally worth it. It's so fun. It's an awesome adventure, and even Team Rocket and Meowth are back, and the way they handle them is awesome. It definitely harkens back to the original movie. So if you watched that or you were a fan of that, definitely recommend checking this one out. If you're just altogether not a big fan of action adventure kids series or kids movies, I wouldn't recommend it. Now, Mewtwo is in this movie, obviously, and Mewtwo is OP, unbelievably OP. Like, it's almost to an extent to where you're like, whoa, no Mewtwo card or Mewtwo anywhere has ever had this power, but essentially, he starts out as Metal Mewtwo. So if you played Pokemon Go, or if you collect the cards, I don't know if there's a Metal Mewtwo card, to be honest, but there's a Metal Mewtwo in Pokemon Go, and if you ever saw that, and you were wondering where in tarnation did this come from, like I was, it's from this movie, right? So he was creating this movie with armor on him to try to like restrict him from leaving the humans and from doing his own thing. But obviously him being Mewtwo, being OP, breaks the armor in a matter of seconds and then it becomes even more stronger. So, obviously it goes wrong. But in this movie, Mewtwo's even more strong. He can control waves and tides and can control humans, and it's pretty wild. He also has this skill that I never know about, where he has these Pokeballs he controls that he can capture other Pokemon in. It's unique. It's cool. Totally worth it if you like Pokemon at all. And I would say it's different from the originals. It's enough of a departure from the plots of the old Pokemon movies to where if you were a fan of the old ones, this is gonna feel fresh, but still familiar. And that's why I think the real value comes in this movie is if you're a fan of the originals, if you're a fan of Pokemon franchise, you're gonna love this movie. Highly recommend checking it out. Since it's a junior review, I'm not gonna include a parents guide section, but essentially this movie is gonna be, in terms of action, it's definitely very limited. It's all Pokemon action, Pokemon violence, nothing too drastic, nothing too bad, no sexual content, no language, fully kid-friendly. And I would definitely recommend this movie if you are a fan of the Pokemon franchise and you want to show that to your son or your daughter, or if you're just with your friends and you're all Pokemon fans, this is definitely a great movie to rejoice over. It's a great intro to the franchise, too, if you don't know too much about it. You might not enjoy it as much if you don't know too much, but they start fresh with all the characters, kind of. So it's not like you need to know who Ash is to understand the movie, you know what I'm saying? But it definitely helps. In fact, it makes the movie a lot more enjoyable if you understand what all the Pokemon are and all the characters are and their relationships and then stuff like that. Again, I cannot speak highly enough of this animation. This studio, I'll be definitely looking forward to future projects by them, and we'll check out anything they've done in the past. But the animation, I would say it captures the Pokemon Coliseum vibe. If you guys ever played that back on the Wii or even before, oh, I was so sick. 3D Pokemon fighting, and I always wondered why don't they make a movie that's kind of like this? And I think they have before. I don't know if I checked it out, but this one I did, and this one specifically is awesome. So I recommend checking it out. There's even cool lessons at the end. The movie really has valuable lessons about how fighting doesn't lead to anything. Why fight each other when you're all the same? When we're all humans, we're all Pokemon in that situation. We're all why fight each other? Why not understand each other and talk, and it also shows the power of relationships. It shows the power of, you know, true bond and connection between a Pokemon and his trainer, which can be equated to, you know, any of us and with our passion projects or with our children or stuff like that. It really like shows you the importance of that connection and how to make sure it's as pure of a connection as possible. But otherwise, those are my thoughts on Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Definitely recommend checking it out again if you're a fan of Pokemon. Let me know in the comments below if you have watched this movie and what your thoughts are. And smash the like button and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the flippity flip.